Hi, everybody. It's May 13th, Wednesday. Yay! It's hump day, halfway through the week. Okay, you guys did an outstanding job today. I just want to compliment you. Thank you very much. I didn't have Zoom this morning because I couldn't get the Zoom it was either the video or it was the audio, one of the two. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like one thing or the other. So today what we're going to do is do Gallagher again because I love Gallagher and I like the way that he presents it to you because it's easier for you to know and easier for you to adapt to your own writing and for your personalities. To do it for the independent, each writing assignment that you have in New Learning. And remember, always to revise it because what I want to teach you here is how you know you have a quality paper and the process or the steps you go through for real world writing purposes. And that's what we've done all along. That's what we've done for the last 2 or 3 weeks with Gallagher. Before that, we did the 6 traits. And after this, we're going to do some reading strategy and some blooms. So you're going to see it all come together, and it all matches my posters that I have up in the classroom. Remember those big posters, the 4 of them. I have quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4. That's a blooms, but it also attaches to the 6 traits and attaches to what Gallagher wants us to know, which is the things of writing that you can adapt to your own writing, depending on what you're writing, the mode of writing that you're in, and that you understand what each mode is. And this is argument, this is persuasive argument mode, as you know, which is the hardest writing. And a lot of people never achieve this level of writing, which is argument. Saying that, unfortunately, I'm going to walk you through the steps very slowly. I'm giving you an example of writing. I'm going to use the same example that Gallagher did because he wrote another book called Read Aside. And Read Aside I love, and I read that at the very beginning, right after I got my master's in education. And it sold me 100% on that reading, math, and writing are the 3 triads that you need in order for you to get the earned grades that you want and so desire. Those are the earned grades that the colleges want for you to have as well, so you can actually earn scholarships and you don't have to pay everything for college back, which is a good thing, or you don't have to go and get a second and third job or anything. You actually get the scholarships and it's free money. So saying that, that's a good thing. I'm outlining everything for you. This is my chart that we're going to follow that's going to adapt and put the 5 things that you can do to improve your writing into your papers. You follow these steps, you'll have an A paper every time. If you miss 1 or 2 steps, or maybe you didn't research enough, then you're going to drop to a B and possibly high C. If you don't do any of this at all, or you don't watch the video, or you don't follow the rules of writing, which I'm so careful to outline for you, to give to you, because most teachers don't give it to you, or you haven't, or you wouldn't be in this predicament where you are now. I always like to give my students more information, because then on your educational journey, I'm not the only one that's going to be a participant in that and to add information to, but I hope I'm one of the important ones that I give you the information that you're actually going to learn and you're going to be able to use. Not just memorize, not packets. I hate packets, and I know people use packets, and I know if you're not doing the videos or in Google Classroom, you're going to get packets. It's like that's just what they do, and that's just to hand it to you, but that's not true learning. Learning is not in a packet. If I go to a job and they hand me a packet, that's not my career. That's not what I want to do every single day. My job or my career is taking everything that I've learned, everything that I know, applying it, evaluating it. There's your Bloom's taxonomy. If you get a packet, you're on the lower end of comprehension. You're on that low scale. Why would you want to do that? Why would you barely want to scoot by? I don't. I always want to have the most fun possible because life is supposed to be fun. I truly believe it. And I believe that learning is fun. And I found out in my educational journey that education is fun and reading is fun and writing is fun if you follow the rules and if you do it this way. And if you do it the traditional way, which is how I originally grew up, doing it traditional way, packets, open the book, do it this way, turn in these 10 or 20 problems, turn in these 10 or 20 essays, and do it the way I say and the way I tell you without thinking. And then you've earned. And if I say something in my paper that the teacher doesn't like or whatever, then all of a sudden I have a D. And I'm like, what did I do? It's like I followed everything. I did everything you asked, but because you didn't like my paper, but what about it did you not like? And I'm sure some of you can relate to that as it resonates through you. Tea is good. And so therefore, I want to teach you the 5 things and what to do in your writing. So whoever is assessing and evaluating your writing, they look at it and they see mature vocabulary. They see a person who has written before. They see a mature person who knows how to read and reads on a daily basis, or takes things and reads them to advance their learning, to advance themselves to that next level of their learning journey. Think of it that way. Every single day and everything you do, whether you keep your hoodie up and you hide, or you open it up and you do the best you can and you apply yourself, it's totally up to you. You're the one contributing to this life. You're the one getting the quality of this life. The more you put into it, the more you get back. Okay? So 5 things. Number 1, read more. Everybody tells you to read more, but nobody tells you how to read more. I'm going to tell you how. They take you to the library and they say pick out a book, and you pick out a book and you might not like it, so you end up reading it. Or if in AR, when you're supposed to be doing AR, because AR advances you forward and is trying to teach you that you're supposed to fall in love with the author or fall in love with the book that you're reading. Now, I've had students that they just hated to read the novels. They hated to read all of those, but they liked reading the newspaper, or they liked reading magazines, or they liked doing the design aspect. Well, then read that stuff. You're reading. It doesn't matter what you're reading as long as you're reading. Gobble it up. Some people like to take apart computers and put it together. Well, guess what? That's real world writing right there, is because you have to actually write those directions so somebody else can read them and then put that computer back together again. Perfect. You're reading. You're advancing your vocabulary. You're advancing your comprehension. And in all of that, your fluency is going to improve. It's not a magic wand that you wave or anything else like that. It's not sitting with someone and reading to them and they're like marking down everything like they do. Okay. And that's one way of doing it, to try to train you to know what good reading is. But here's the thing. It's the same as learning. If you love to learn, like I'm an artist, okay? I love to do art. If I can make my living at art, yay, because I love it. No one has to pay me to do it. I would love and want to do it every single day and change it up to make things like this every day, to make coasters, to make resin, and to make different things that sparkle and people would actually enjoy. That is all art. Well, writing is an art form too. Writing is part of the art form where people and authors write novels, they write for newspapers, they write for news media. And a lot of my students have gone into journalism. And because they went into journalism, they're doing an outstanding job. A few of my students went into psychology, they're forensics right now. I had just had one that just graduated. Yay, I'm so proud of her. And she's forensics psychologist now, behaviorist. And so she's going to have an outstanding job. I'm so proud of her. Yay! Excited for her too. But a lot of others went into journalism and they took writing seriously. And as I still talk with them and I still touch base with them, which is so nice. And I always like to touch base with my students because you guys are the reason why I'm teaching. Okay. And then what she told me is that the way I outlined everything and the way I color code, I think, is the reason why she did so well in school. And in forensic psychology, oh my gosh, you have to have A's and B's. So she learned and she kept learning and she continues to learn and she applied it and she evaluated herself and she moved herself forward, which is what I hope and wish for each one of you. It's like each one of you takes that and runs with it and knows that this is the right way and this is how you learn, and you pass it along to everybody else so that they have it as well. So let's go ahead and get down to business here. Remember, we're an argument, taking a stand, writing proposals, doing claims, okay? So our definition is propose a solution. The writer, you, seeks to persuade audiences to accept a particular position on a controversial issue. Remember, everyone can persuade. Position on a controversial issue. Not everybody takes the right position. Not everyone can argue that controversial issue properly to do for, against. Describes the problem, number one. Proposes a solution, number two. And provides justification, number three. Now, everyone can describe because you've been describing since you were in kindergarten. Everyone can kind of propose a solution, but do they really do it correctly? Provide justification. That is the tricky one. That is what you have to do in a court of law, and you have to justify reliable and verifiable sources to support both sides, pro and against, for and against, okay, pro and con, excuse me. Okay. So saying that, I'm looking at my 5 things. Read more. Research shows people who read more write better. As a teacher, I can always tell I'm reading a paper written by a reader. How? Because readers write papers that have longer development, longer processes, more care and time taken to compose and create that paper. So it shows if you just write it right out of the box and you basically do not take it through the writing process at all, and you're doing a pre-write and a draft and you turn it in. And you can tell right off the bat, you know that there's no time. This time was not taken. It was here, but boom, you jumped here, you turned it in, and you wonder why you have an F. You wonder why you don't have the grade. Oh, it's an A paper. No, it's not. You have to take it through the process. You have to go ahead and do the simplistic details, or you're not going to have an A paper. Number 2, you have to write more. That's the reason I gave the assignment at the beginning when I first started doing the videos, end of March, 1st of April, and basically to do journal writing or write on a daily basis, because you're writing more. You're practicing every day. You're writing about your life. You're writing about what your experience is during the virus. You're writing about exactly what you're learning every single day. And writing is a skill that you learn. You're not born with it. You have to learn it. So just like swimming and painting, you have to learn it. Now, painting you have to learn, but there's a certain talent behind all that, and there's a certain talent with writing too. But we all have the same talent as long as we use it properly, which is the cool part. Okay? You must do a lot to get good at it. Just like anything, when you walked, you did a lot, and then all of a sudden you started walking, and then you started running. But did you fall down? Well, sure you did. Did you remember? No, because you were little, and you bounce right off. And toddlers and babies, they bounce up, and they usually don't get hurt or anything, and they just like, ah, ha, 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 and then off they go. Okay? But you had to learn. You had to learn how to do that. Like roller skating, you have to learn how to roller skate. You have to learn how to balance, or skateboarding. And I was not a roller skater, I was a skateboarder. So I love to skateboard, and we used to go down a hill that was, I'm not kidding you, this steep. And I was right there. There was only 3 of us girls, and the rest were guys. And we were beating the guys half the time. It's like the guys were afraid to do the jumps, and we were doing the jumps, and it was great. Okay. My younger years, don't ask me to do it now. Okay, I'll break my leg, I'm sure. You must develop a habit for it. So you have to develop a habit. You have to develop a habit for art in order to create it, to create something that is really beautiful. You have to learn from your mistakes. Remember, our previous video talked about how this broke off, and that I have to remold it and be very careful, because every time I remolded it, it cracks in the same spot. So what's going to happen is possibly I'm just going to have to sand this down and keep it for my own, and then this one I can't sell. So because it's got the top missing off from it, it's just not right. Okay, this one came out perfect. This did the reflection like I wanted, and I did it upside down. I did it in the same mold and everything, but this came out so much different than the other one did. So I don't know what I did with that one compared to this one. But you learn it. You must develop the habit of wanting to do it free writing your thoughts for 15 minutes. And you go, oh yeah, I've done the free write, but wait, what is that? That means you write nonstop for 15 minutes. You don't stop. Write whatever pops into your head and you write it on the paper and you don't stop until that timer goes off, and then you stop and you look at your paper and see what you wrote. And sometimes it's crazy stuff. Sometimes it's like unusual things. Sometimes it's what you just got done doing or what you want to do, what your dreams are, where you're going to go. It just depends, okay? But you do that, and that's free writing. It helps you to write and helps you put your thoughts on paper. And it gets your thoughts out of your head so you can make way for new thoughts. You make way for new learning. 3, do not fall in love with your first draft. Why on earth would you fall in love with your first draft? The green over here means go, but why fall in love with that when you go through the process, you're going to have an A paper, but right here is not an A paper. It is not. You have to revise and edit. You have to purposely put sentences in there, purposely use mature vocabulary, look up words, use additional words in order to put this in. That is true writing. And then you can fall in love with your writing after you've gone through that process. Get used to that writing process. Your first draft will always need a revision. In fact, I've even told students, and I purposely asked them one year because they argued with me, and they were my 8th graders at the time, and they went on to be honor roll at the high school, and they brought in a 4th grade paper from their 4th grade teacher. And we revised and edited it, and I wanted it to be an A paper. And so they brought in their A papers. We revised and edited, and we found so many mistakes and so many ways that we could improve it. And when they got done, they said that we didn't believe it, but they did then because I walked them through it. And as they walked through that writing process, they understood what I was talking about. You can take any paper at all, and you can revise it and make it better. 4th reason, get feedback. Feedback always, always. You want to share your writing. Yes, it's super scary for someone else to read your writing when you first do it. But once you get into the habit of it, that habit is going to take you and improve your writing. Yes, when you do and expect truth, then your writing improves. If you give it to your best friend and your best friend, yeah, that's really good, here you go, that's not really getting feedback. They're just trying to make you feel good. I want someone who's going to tear apart my paper. I want someone who's going to mark it up and say, you really could use this word over here. And why did you end this paragraph here? Why didn't you start up here? Why not rearrange all of that? Why are you using this source in this way? Why don't you move it down here and move this one up on top? That's the person, that's the feedback that you want that's going to move your writing forward to the A or B that you desire. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They're actually going to tell you the truth, okay? You don't want someone to be nice to you. You want someone to say, you did that all wrong. Or, I don't know where you're going with this. You're all over the place. You need to refocus and outline this and then rewrite it. Those are the people that you want to take your paper to. And then you don't have to always take it to the same person. If you take it to the same person all the time, again, you're not getting true feedback, which is why I tell you, I don't care who you take it to. They can have a writing degree, they can have a reading degree, they can have a math degree, they can have a trade degree. I don't care what they have. Let them read your paper, but don't take it to just one person. Take it to 5, take it to 10. Let them each see each person who has revised it, and let them make their comments about the revisions that have already been made and their comments and their suggestions, because now you have a true feedback paper. And that's going to be eliminating all the errors, and all that leaves you is the gem, the true things that work, because you get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. Cool. Saying that, take writing seriously. You need to seek it out. Those that will help you, not me. I'm not assigning it. I'm not saying go to Miss Mills or go over here or go to this trade teacher or go to this math teacher or go to this. No, you have to decide you want this and you're going to seek it out to get it. That's true feedback. Number 5, the 5th reason, 5th thing you can do to improve your writing is notice what other writers are doing. Not necessarily copy them, because be careful, because some authors are doing things tricky in novels purposely to grab your attention, and they're not doing it according to MLA and APA standards, okay? But look at other writers that are doing or writing the same or similar things as you are. We learn best when we stand next to someone who knows how to do the skill and observe how it is done. Learning is what that's called. And that's why I do Grammar Caught You, which is what I have down here. I have Grammar Caught You right here, because that is how is it done. When you turn in your sentence and you turn in your grammar sentence and you get it wrong, but if you do it correctly in Google Docs or Microsoft Word document, in Google Classroom is Google Docs. So I can go ahead and comment on that. I can add my comment. I can highlight. I can send it back to you. I write down the earned grade that you have received. But every day we do this daily. Why? Because you're getting in the habit. You're writing every day. And you're learning every day, and you might have forgot all the grammar, because my goodness, commas alone have 5 pages in a RightSource book. How on earth are you supposed to memorize 5 pages of commas? I still have not, and my focus was on English and reading. And I still haven't memorized all those rules for commas. I'd have to look it up, which is why I had the RightSource book in the classroom, because it was an easy resource to look up so that you can double check your grammar. But in the same hand, you still have to know how it is done. You have to see it as an example, and that's where we're going today, okay? Newspaper problem chart. I X'd out the paper part because we no longer have newspapers that you read. Some of them are online, but basically it's news that we're looking at. News, we get bombarded with news every day with Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media that we have out there. That the news is coming across to us, and we don't know. A lot of people are taking false news as truth. And if you take false news as truth, then basically your integrity is getting harmed, because you're believing something because somebody else said something. It sounds so truthful, but if you didn't do the research and you didn't do the backup for it, and you didn't go through and find out if what they're saying is true, then that's your fault, but it ruins your integrity, because people go, oh my gosh, that turned out not to be true, and this person has been saying this all along. Okay. And so what I did is I included the virus. I thought perfect opportunity to apply the virus to a writing, because I'm doing it here as an example, but then in my actual writing piece, I'm going to use reading as an example, because that's what I know along with Gallagher. I've studied things along with Gallagher. And but right now we're going to use the virus because we have local problems, state problems, national problems, and world problems. So you first have to recognize your problems. You have to recognize the small ones, which is local, and the huge ones, which is world. You have to do both, all of them, and everything in between. So the solution is down here, I put, but then I listed all the problems at first, and you can see the local problems started with food shortage, gas, virus, deaths, nursing homes, hospitals, ages, and we're tracking all that. Then they went to state problems, and it started to change at the end here. We don't have quite as many. This was a long list, and the list grew shorter and shorter, because then I started to say, wait a minute, because the solution would be to solve the world problems as well as the national, state, and local. So the state problem was food shipments, virus, deaths, nursing homes, hospitals, ages, and track. So we're tracking all that, and the little arrows shows how all of these are basically bunched together into one ball or one compact form. So when I go to the national problem, my little bullets are still there, and all I have is food and virus for my bullets. But the deaths come under virus, where, who, and how many come under virus, and then we're tracking the virus, which is affecting the food as well. So when we go to the world problems, we still have food and virus there, and we still have deaths, where, who, how many, ages, and we're tracking it. So the solution is going to first hit local problems, and then it's going to hit the state problems, and then it's going to be national and then worldwide. And you see that happening right before your eyes because President is on every day on the committee for COVID-19, giving the updates to it, and that's the solution. They started at the local and went to the world. Okay, they didn't do it the opposite way. Recognize your problems, how big they are, how small. News hunt. You're going to find the news and 24-hour observation. And every 24 hours, observe exactly what is going on in the news about this topic, about your topic that you chose. You've chosen this topic, so now you're going to see what does the news have on it, if anything at all. Maybe it doesn't have anything. Maybe it's not that important. Then you're going to rank the problems from greatest to smallest or smallest to greatest. It's up to you. Oil production, virus, gas prices, food shortage, death tolls per state, county, US, world. So we went through everything again. Drafting the problem and the solution. So we're going to draft the problem and solution paper, and the focus would be virus on here. And we will pull all this information into the virus. Saying that, I'm still at the time limit, so 5 things you can still do to improve your writing. Now I'm going to show you how to actually improve your writing, and this is the outline of the paper that I'm actually going to write in front of you, and I started writing it on other poster paper that I have to go get. The topic and the decline of reading in adolescence is what the topic I chose because I know that, and I've done a lot of papers on it in my master's degree and my undergrad as well. My undergrad was psychology, and so my master's is in education, and then my second master's is in online distant learning. So saying that, reading is a very important element along with writing and along with math. Saying all of that, it's a decline of reading at your age group, about 13 years old. So I'm going to describe the problem and define the problem as part 1 for my paper. And you're going to see this is my part 1 for my paper that matches that. Suggested drafting the problem solution paper. This is not like an outline you have to use. This is not something you have to use, but does it work? It does. And if you organize and outline your information, then are you better off to understand when you start writing your paper, I'm following an outline, I'm following a plan, and I don't get lost in my sources or get too many sources somewhere. I actually can apply my plan. So you're going to describe the problem first and define the problem. And how many times do I say look up a word and define it? This is the reason. Who says it's a problem? Why do they say it's a problem? Does your audience need convincing that this is a problem? Try to use specific facts and figures describing the problem, because remember, we're in argument and we need facts and evidence. We don't need hearsay. We need reliability and verifiable information that are facts. Okay, we don't want opinions at all. Part 2, propose a solution. Describe your solution or solutions. Are your solutions practical? Are they obtainable? Can you get them? How can you get them? How so? Be very specific in outlining the steps of your solutions. Part 3, defend your proposal. Why will your ideas work? Anticipate what the opposition will say and counter their concerns. Recognize that people may be reluctant to get behind your proposal and explain to them why they should overcome the reluctance. And if you don't know what reluctance means, you need to look it up because there's other words that basically support reluctance. If you don't know proposal, then you have to look that one up because there's other words. Part 4, conclude. Remind the readers why this problem needs your attention, needs their attention. Readdress why they should care. What action do you hope is prompted by the writing of this piece? And tell the readers what they can do or how they can help. If you do only one of those, your conclusion is going to be weak and your paper is not going to be strong enough and you're not going to get your A. I'll just tell you that right now. And I have a lot in the concluding part here because you're not just restating your thesis, taking it from the beginning and writing it at the end. Remember, I said don't do that. That's a weak paper, and your voice, I can hear your voice, and it's very weak in that aspect. So the topic, here's the beginning of my paper that I started, and this is Gallagher Part 1. I'm following this format, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. I'm using the five ways to improve my writing. I've already applied that. I'm going to do my own outline. I'm doing my own graphic organizer, and then I'm going to begin writing the paper, and that comes in the next video. So I hope you stay tuned and watch it. Okay, talk soon.